Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another week of preparation with me, Tremaine, for our weekly market forecast. Now guys, in today's one, we're going to get into 4 different pairs. We're going to go through AUDJPY, CHFJPY, NZDCAD, and NZDJPY. Now these are the most exciting pairs, guys, that we've isolated from our watch list for this week. So we'll kick things off with AUDJPY, guys. On the H4, we'll discuss our higher time frame structure just for a second. So what we can see, guys, higher time frame is prices coming up from the left, creating some resistance, establishing some support, and we see this move to the upside that has been able to violate some previous resistance structures over there. So what we do see is prices coming back to this area of support, so higher time frame support. What we then have is we have this push to the downside, followed by a nice rejection from our area of support. So what we've done, for some context in this market, is we've slapped on a support trend line down there to get an idea of what kind of a downtrend were we looking at on AUDJPY. And what we've seen was prices breaking below our support trend line and breaking and closing back above our support trend line. Now if we come and zoom into price action here on the H4, what we will see is this impulse corrective nature of price action. So what we've got here is a nice impulsive move to the upside, obviously reacting close to our higher time frame support structures over there. Following, guys, after we have these extreme lows and these extreme highs, we then see price creating structure within our highs and lows. So we're looking at these support structures there, obviously, for a nice beautiful 3-touch structure. We have our first touch in this area, we have our second touch in this area, and we could be anticipating a third touch within this area here. So guys, how we will be approaching this market is, because price has been slightly impulsive towards our support structure over there, what we will be waiting for is for a beautiful reversal structure. So if prices do give us a nice double bottom structure or a nice inverse head and shoulders, or any structure, guys, that gives us beautiful reversal and an opportunity to get in either at that risk entry or that reduced risk entry after prices break and close back above our previous support that we see being violated, regardless of which type of entry, guys, we get in this market, guys, we're going to be nice and bullish bias, guys, looking to take any buying opportunities that might present themselves, and we'll look to manage this full trade, guys, by the time we get to the 90% rule of this structure. So by the time trades, or if prices do get to these extreme highs here, that is the time, guys, where we'll be looking to close our full position. Obviously, along the way, also looking to manage this trade at important levels of structure. So partialing out, guys, when we do get to these important key levels of structure, all we need to do for next week, guys, is wait to see if AJ gives us this beautiful buy setup. Do we get a reversal structure, or do we see markets even decelerating towards our support structure, giving us another different confirmation, obviously, to enter into this bullish trade? Nonetheless, we will be waiting for that bullish continuation out of AUDJPY. Let's get into CHFJPY, guys. We'll start off on the H4. We'll just talk about the relevant structure that we have here. So higher time frame, guys, we can, or let's just go up to the daily just so that we can speak about the structure. So higher time frame structure, guys, we do see that CHFJPY is in some ascending structure. Now within this ascending structure, guys, we've already had our first touch of structure, our second touch of structure, our third touch of structure, a nice double top structure over there, followed by a beautiful push to the downside. Now, because we are still within this ascending structure, price does have the potential to obviously come up, maybe give us another touch, or maybe give us a larger time frame double top structure. We are not expecting something like this, though. Nonetheless, we're in an ascending structure. We're expecting momentum to the downside. Now, because we're expecting that downside momentum, guys, on our 4-hour in the most recent price action, what we can see is a nice impulsive move to the downside. So showing us some nice momentum on our H4 chart. And that's what we kind of want to be trading with in this case. So on CHFJPY, if we look at the price action, guys, we've seen lows, we've seen highs, we've seen structure being created within these lows and highs. We've seen lower lows then being created here, and now we're seeing higher highs. So we can conclude that price is expanding a range because we've established some lows, we've violated those lower structures, we've established some highs, and we've violated those higher structures there. So we know that CHFJPY is in some sort of an expanding structure, and we want to be trading the highs of this expanding structure. The highs of this expanding structure will also or could terminate at our previous support structures that were violated with nice momentum and have not been retested as resistance yet. So for all of these reasons that we're building off our higher time frame analysis, guys, on CHFJPY, if we come down to the most recent price action here on the 4-hour, what we can see is prices ascending above our resistance areas. So we see this move to the upside, but we can isolate some sort of a channel in this area, observing that prices are within an uptrend, but we want to be looking for those selling opportunities. So what we will be doing, guys, is isolating some structure that is relevant for the setup that we are looking for. Now, the reason why I didn't add my resistance up there is because not all of our highs align. So what I'll be doing is I'll just be taking into account our most recent 2 touches over there. So just the most recent price action, drawing my resistance trend line from there, isolating my structure as well as support. We have some support here, we have some support there. So we then slap on a support trend line, isolating this smaller structure. Now we can see that we do have an ascending structure. We're expecting ascending structures to break to the downside. Now what we could be waiting for here on CHFJPY, guys, is for a beautiful reversal structure. So once we see prices breaking, closing back below our structure, all we look for are for those lower highs to get involved in some bearish momentum. So guys, we're looking to see that sell setup form. All we're waiting for is a beautiful reversal structure that will give us reason to sell this position, whether that reversal structure comes in the form of a head and shoulders like we have here in the example, or in the form of a double top structure, or in the form of an ascending structure towards our resistance areas. All of these, guys, are reasons to be looking for those sell setups. So this is the setup that we're looking for on CHFJPY, guys. We are looking for that potential JPY strength. So take into account, guys, on AUDJPY, we're looking for a nice buy because we have a nice impulse corrective structure. We're at that touch now, waiting for that continuation to the upside. So we're allowing ourselves to trade any JPY weakness on AUDJPY. If we see the JPY strengthening and all of these JPY code pairs making that move to the downside, this is the pair that is giving us a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful sell setup. So this is where I'll be taking my sells for that JPY strength on and on AUDJPY, guys, we're going to look for those buys of any AUD of any JPY weakness. Now let's get into our third pair, guys. We're going into NZDJPY, and on NZDJPY, geez, I have not deleted our previous analysis, but this is our analysis from our live session this morning, so please do forgive. Now what I will do here is just scroll out so that we can speak about what price action we've been seeing here on the 4-hour. So guys, higher time frame structure, what we've been seeing, so all of this previous structure, we understand that higher time frame weekly, we're at some support in that area there. What we've seen is prices decelerating towards our important support area, giving us some trend lines. We've then been seeing those trend lines violated, giving us corrective structures, then obviously pushing to the upside. So we've seen a nice push to the upside from our important higher time frame support structures. So if we speak about the current trend here on the H4 on New Zealand dollar CAD, what we will see is a market that is still currently within an uptrend. So we have some lows over there, we have highs, we have higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, and higher highs. Now these are the previous higher lows that are keeping this market bullish. So we know that we're expecting a bullish reaction from this previous area where we saw buyers coming in, being able to violate some previous resistance areas. So isolating our structure, what we've done, guys, is we've isolated, obviously we've put in our resistance area over there. We know what our resistance trend line looks like there. We've also plot our support trend line there, obviously accommodating for our lower structures. What we do see, if we zoom into this price action here, is that we do have a nice, beautiful potential 3-touch structure. So we have our first touch, we have our second touch, and we're expecting prices to terminate at support, giving us that nice, beautiful third touch for a move to the upside. Now, guys, because prices are reacting from this area here, we will obviously need to have two different scenarios. So our go-to scenario, best scenario, is if we see prices coming down, giving us that reversal structure, and then this move to the upside. Obviously, if we don't see prices pushing to the upside, to the downside next week, Monday, what we will wait to see is for prices to push up, break our trend line, come down, give us that higher low. So we obviously wait on that continuation structure, and then, guys, we're in on the bullish momentum. So we still need to wait for our setup to present itself, whether we present itself in the form of a breakout or in the form of a reversal structure. Guys, we're bullish on NZDCAD for next week. We have some beautiful structure that is giving us a nice, beautiful buy setup. So that's kind of what we're going to be doing. In terms of management, we are going to be looking to partial out at important key levels of structure. So what we'll be looking at are, first of all, if we do get this lower entry, we'll obviously be looking to manage our trade by these resistance areas there. Next, these resistance areas there. And finally, guys, we'll look to manage our trade by the time we get to these closes up here. So this is where we look to manage our full position if we do see this buy setting up on New Zealand dollar CAD. Absolutely beautiful setup, guys. I'm excited. Hopefully this setup does present itself, because there's some amazing risk to reward ratio that can, I guess, come into play here, and we are at higher time frame support, so we have some confluence of higher time frame structure. So let's get on to the last pair that we're going to have a look at for today's weekly analysis, guys, and that's New Zealand dollar JPY. We also have not deleted any analysis on here. I can see that now, so let me just delete all of this just so that we don't know what's going on and we do our top-down analysis fresh. There we go, guys. So on New Zealand dollar JPY, we are on the 4-hour, guys. What we can notice about this price action on the 4-hour is that structure has come in from the top, created lows, created resistance, created equal lows, lower highs, lower lows. Now, if we look at the major structure within this most recent price action here, let's just zoom into this here. What we will see is a nice, beautiful, impulsive move to the downside, establishing support, corrective move to the upside, resistance, and our continuation to the downside, violating previous support, breaking back above, establishing resistance, and now we're correcting to the downside. Nice, beautiful potential inverse head and shoulders for us to be trading on New Zealand dollar JPY. So that's exactly what we've done, guys. Focusing on our most recent price action, we've isolated, we've seen our nice impulsive move over here, and then after we've seen prices creating extreme lows and extreme highs, we've then seen structure being created within these extreme lows and extreme highs. So we have our first touch over here, guys, our second touch over here. We could be expecting prices to come and terminate at our third touch of structure. So NZDJPY, guys, gonna be requiring a little bit patience from us for the completion of this setup, but nonetheless, if we do get this beautiful third touch and a beautiful confirmation in the form of whether it's an inverse head and shoulders or whatever structure, guys, if we do see this setup forming, guys, the bullish setup is there. We have a nice inverse head and shoulders. We'll be looking to target major structural areas, looking to manage our trades by the time we get to these resistance areas here, these resistance areas here, these resistance areas here, and finally, guys, look to take our full position at the termination of our head and shoulder structure, which is there. So, guys, the potential for risk to reward on this trade is absolutely amazing. If we have a little bit of patience and wait for this nice, beautiful pull to the downside, that will give us a much better buy for that better risk to reward ratio. It's definitely going to pay. It's definitely going to pay, because the risk to reward ratio is there. So if we're in the right direction, guys, the potential to maximize on our returns is absolutely there on our New Zealand dollar JPY setup. Now, another thing that we could discuss, guys, if prices are not going to pull down low enough to test for that supply, what we will just see is obviously prices coming down to violate these support structures here. And if we do find a nice double bottom structure, that is also a nice potential setup for us to be trading. So even if we don't get this third touch down there, but we get a beautiful double bottom structure here on our H4, or maybe it might even be a daily double bottom structure, this is still a nice, beautiful bullish bias setup that terminates in the area where we expect our right shoulder to terminate. So it's still a beautiful trade, guys. Even if we don't get that third touch, we will still be focusing on those reversal structures, looking for any upside momentum that might present itself on New Zealand dollar JPY. So guys, to recap our analysis on AUDJPY, guys, we're looking for a bullish bias setup. On our CHFJPY, guys, we are looking for a bearish bias setup, obviously allowing ourselves to hedge that JPY strength. On our New Zealand dollar CAD, guys, we are looking for a bullish bias setup. And on our sorry about that, on our New Zealand dollar CAD, guys, yes, we are looking for a bullish bias setup. Why did I confuse that? Yes, guys, in New Zealand dollar CAD, we're looking for that bullish bias setup. And on our NZDJPY, guys, we're looking for a nice bullish bias setup, also hedging some JPY strength between our CHFJPY and our NZDJPY. So all we need to do in the course of next week is apply patience, guys, allow the market to develop and give us those beautiful setups, guys, because there's amazing risk to reward ratio that is coming next week, or even if it doesn't present itself next week, the momentum is coming. We've isolated those structures. We can see where's our higher time frame momentum coming in. All we need to focus on is those beautiful setups and entries. Otherwise, guys, have an amazing week. If it's your first time on the channel, definitely do subscribe. We would appreciate that a ton. Otherwise, drop this video a like if you have received the value that has been intended for you. This is Tremaine, your Forex Chasers mentor. I will see you guys in the future videos. Enjoy your week, guys. Have a profitable one, and cheers.